Welcome to the Masters Grand Prix interview room. And today is a Masters athlete who's not been around really that long, relatively young career, but has done great strides winning UK, European and world titles at middle distance. So it's great special guest today, Zoe Doyle. So let's find out a little bit more about Zoe. So Zoe, how are you today?
Yeah, good. Thank you so much for asking me to do this, Darren. Like you say, I'm not as accomplished as maybe some of the other athletes you've had on, but hopefully I've got an interesting story nonetheless.
Well, that's it, isn't it? We all got different stories, different backgrounds. But what's brilliant about yourself is you started Masters athlete at the age of 35. So what got you in at the age of 35?
Well, a few sort of life things happened to me. So I had 3 children, but after my first child, I got an autoimmune disease, and that really sort of made me want to be as healthy as possible. And it really, before that, I was a lingerie designer, and I sort of stopped going into London and being in the sort of world of fashion, and instead sort of my new passion became fitness. It was something that I was always into, but the autoimmune disease gave me that drive to try and be as healthy as possible. And that, that was exercising and nutrition and healthy lifestyle. And I started working actually in that industry. And I started competing locally. And then my aim was to do triathlon and to qualify age group triathlon. But then something else happened to me. I was in a local race and I got hit by a car.
Wow.
Yeah, I was very lucky to survive. Hit at 40 miles an hour by a Land Rover, trying to win the race, and just ran out. It was high hedges. It was an off-road race, and there was a 60-mile limit road, no marshals, and I still can't actually remember what happened. But then I started. I went on a running course to learn to become a running coach, and it was part of because I was working for a triathlon club, so I was doing my qualifications in all the areas, and I met this guy, Will Cockrell, who was a Belgravian, and he made some comment like, "Oh, you've got good calves. I bet you can do a 42-minute 10K." And I said to him, "Oh, actually, I can do a sub 40-minute 10K." And he said, "Right, you've got to come and join my club." And so I did. I went and joined Belgrave, which I wouldn't have done if it hadn't been for the accident, because I wanted to carry on competing, and I knew that if I joined a club, it would be in a safe environment. I didn't really know what, because I'd never been in a running club, what it meant. So I was quite happy just doing local races and trying to get into age group triathlon. But then once I went and did a race for Belgrave, I was just hooked from the first race, and yeah, so joined Belgrave, and it was a great running club. Really enjoyed it, and mainly did cross country to start with. And then I did a couple of track races just to improve my speed, really. And because I was 35, I did 1 800, 1 1500, and I was ranked number 1 in the country after literally doing one race. And
wow, that's just an achievement in itself, isn't it?
And then somebody said to me, well, I kind of knew I just loved the track, and I just really found that I like cross country, but I just felt totally at home on the track. It really sort of it made me think, this is what I want to do. And I didn't know anything about Masters athletics, but we spoke. My coach and I spoke to a few Master athletes that we knew, and they said, "Oh yeah, there's a World Championships next year in Lyon, and that's what you should do." And so that was the first championship that I competed.
So what was that actually your first Masters? So you didn't do anything in the UK. It was basically straight over to the World Championships in Lyon.
I think I did do the outdoor, the championships, the British Masters. Yeah. And I came second in the 1500. Yeah.
Right. And so just touching back a little bit. I mean, Wow, what a life experience going from probably losing your life to a Land Rover, and it's changed your life and then gone on to track. So was you out for a long time after that? Were you in hospital for a long time? Was you a long time to get back to fitness?
Well, the first thing, that my autoimmune liver disease, it took me a year. I was seriously ill and was days off needing to go onto a life support, because I would need a liver transplant.
Yeah.
But luckily the drugs kicked in, so that took me a year to and I really just started by walking. But then after the Land Rover incident, it took me 6 weeks. I had broken ribs and internal bleeding. I had to have my head glued, and I had various cuts and scrapes on me. But it was a miracle, really. It took me 6 weeks probably, but yeah, not that long really.
Yeah, so you're a fast healer really, and you're lucky. And then obviously it brought you towards being a masters athlete, and it's great to see you on the track there. And Leon, so what was it like doing your first sort of major championship? What was that like being a sort of newbie at the time?
Yeah, well, it was an amazing experience. I'd never been on a stage that big, and I absolutely loved it. But I'd say it was really hot, which suited me. And I went with my training partner, who was also his first. He was 1500-meter runner, V50 at the time, and we went together, and my coach was there. And so the whole experience was really good. But I just had no idea about call rooms and wearing the kit and having your name announced onto the track, and it was really a big deal for me. I was really nervous, and I probably gave too much in the heat. So I really ran the heat really well, and then I felt a bit drained by the final. So it was like a learning experience really. And I'd lost the lead pack. It was very like 1500-meter races often are. It was very bunched up to start with, and I let the lead pack sort of get away from me. So I was sort of chasing them, and at 300 meters to go, I remember sort of saying to myself, is this the best you can do? And I just started sprinting at 300 to go, and I caught them on the bend. So 100 meters to go, and I managed to get into silver medal position. But then I fell literally meters from the line, and skid along the track, and people were sort of like gasping, hoping that I'd get over the line, but I didn't, and I came fourth. But having said that, it was an amazing, I felt so many different emotions afterwards. But actually it made me really believe in myself, because I never thought I could go to my first championships and get a medal, and I could have done, I could have even, possibly won. And sort of that just drove me to want to train harder, and really to set my big goal, which was to be world champion, which I didn't think would happen so quickly. I really sort of set myself no time limit on that. I said, even if I'm a 70, a vet 70, and I'm a world champion, then that is my goal.
I love that. I love that it wasn't like short times ago. You just said, I just want to become a champion, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. So that's brilliant. I like that.
Yeah, well, I think the thing is with championships, I always get the best out of myself at championships, the biggest stage. It's never about times for me. I can't run just to get great times. I'm just not that sort of athlete. I need to compete against people and try and beat people. And so, at championships, things can go wrong. And, it's just you have to have a bit of luck, I think. So I knew that I couldn't put the pressure on myself that it has to happen at these championships, or has to happen in the next 5 years, because especially with my injury history, nothing's guaranteed. So yeah, I was really happy when it actually did happen in 2019.
Yes, obviously it's one of them, and it's a big achievement. Once you become world champion, it's like all the emotions come at once. Talking about there, when you said you're very competitive, where does that come from? Do you know when you say you just want to win? Where have you inherited that, or is it just the way you've been throughout your life?
No, the funny thing is, I'm very laid back. I'm a very laid back person, and actually, I've got two sisters, and my younger sister. We used to play tennis together, and she's only a year, 13 months younger than me, and she is the most competitive person you will meet, and also my parents are both very, very competitive people as well, and so me and my younger sister, we were the sort of laid back ones. And I did run at school, and I won. I was county champion at 400 and at long jump, and I did get spotted by running clubs. And my parents were like, "Oh, anybody can run," and I actually wasn't that bothered. I just I didn't have that drive to really want to do it. But I think it's through the things that have happened to me in life, the obstacles, that it's given me that fire in my belly to really want things, and to be really competitive with myself, more than I try not to compare myself to other people. But yeah, people always say to me, "Oh, when are you going to stop this running? You're getting a bit old now." And I'm like, well, when I don't want to do it anymore, when it's no longer, my passion, then I'll stop. But at the moment, I can't see that happening.
Yeah, I think I've had that said to me a few times. People are not in the the running world, so to speak. I've had friends saying, "You're in your 50s now, Dan. Is that it? You want to call it?" I've said, "No, it keeps me young. I
Yeah.
feel young and I feel healthy. So why should I give it up?" And to be honest with you, there is inspirations out there. When I see men 80s, 90s, 100s doing what they do, it does inspire. It really does. So did you have anyone in the Masters that you aspire to now, or look at now, or do you just on yourself?
Yeah, no, I've got a lot of friends and a lot of athletes that inspire me. The obvious two are Claire Elms and Virginia Mitchell.
Yeah.
But I looked up to Louise Rudd, for a long time, and then we became good friends. Diana Norman, so yeah, there's loads of women who do inspire me, and men as well. Guy Bracken, I'm good friends with.
Yeah.
Mike Trees, I've had the pleasure of training with. So yeah, I mean, for me, because I've only been running for 7 years, I'm just sort of learning all the time, and taking what I can from all of these people who've got vast amounts of experience. I'm just trying to be like a sponge, and really get better in all the ways that I can, and learn from the more experienced athletes.
So when it comes to your training, as you say, you're already relatively fit from doing your triathlons. Don't know how to do by triathlons. You're swimming and all that. Oh, I can't swim, so I'd be useless at anything like that, and cycling. I just don't think I'd like it. So coming from that, so you already had a good fitness background. So how much did your training change, and why did you go for 8 and 15? Because obviously triathlons are a lot further than that, aren't they? Running.
Yeah, well, I mean, I did do marathons and half marathons, and so I've actually had my DNA done, and I'm 52% power. So I'm very, almost 50-50.
Yeah, I was going to say right down the middle there.
Yeah, so I have got really good endurance, but I also have got natural speed, which is why at a 1500 meters, it makes it easier for me to win, because I've got that that change of speed and that kick at the end of the race. So yeah, it's just through training really I found out what I was best at, and actually I find 800, I would say, easier than 15, but I've just never properly trained the speed. I would actually quite like to train with the 400 meter runners for a bit, and to see what would happen to get, but I've never had a full training season, because the trouble with me is, and maybe this is coming from a triathlon background, I overtrain. I just work too hard. I want it too badly, and yeah, that's what my old coach used to say, that I try too hard, and I've got a very high pain threshold. So I just get injured quite easily. So my training's changed a lot, that I've had to think about quality, not quantity. I've got a new coach who's really good. Everything's tracked through my watch, and he's very strict with me. You know, if I've got a 5-mile run in the diary and I go for 6, he will say, why did you go for 6? You know, and he will hold me accountable. So now I stick to whatever he says, you know, and I won't do any
So you're
more.
listening a bit more, Zoe.
Yeah, and now he's actually I'm only running 5 days a week since I've been with Lewis. So I cross train, which again I'm good at because of coming from triathlon. So I do a couple of days cross training. Also, because of my injuries, I do more weights now.
So just before you go on that, so what sort of injuries do you seem to get reoccurring?
So I've had 6 stress fractures.
6?
Yeah. I've got strange hips, so I've got a bit of a wonky pelvis. And part of the, you know, so I've done a lot of work on my core and my glutes and my hips, and that seems to have really be paying off at the moment. But yeah, sort of lower leg injuries. So I've had 2 on my shin, 3 on my metatarsals, and then the beginning of 2020, I had 1 on my femur. So I don't have a bone density issue. I think it's more of a biomechanics, overtraining, overreaching. Yeah.
So now you're sort of addressing this. So as you've said, you go into more quality than quantity. So do you do much track work? And if you do, what type of session would you do?
Well, in the winter, I've just started back on the track, and I'm doing 1 quite heavy track session a week at the moment. In the summer, I'll do as many as 3.
So what would a track session be though for you?
Oh, so the last one that I did, I had to do a mile, and then I had to do 2 800s and 4 400s and 4 200s.
That seems just a lot of running straight away.
Yeah.
And have they all done at a percentage of running? Do you get much recovery between them?
No, that's not much recovery. That's 2 minutes between sort of sets and 1 minute between reps. 90 seconds for the 200s.
Oh, it even sounds agony to me. I remember once, many years ago, I trained with a middle distance guy. His name was Ian Weatherall. And I think we went to Warrington, and I think he said, I said, what are you doing tonight, Ian? He went to me, I'm doing 200s, and I'm being a 200-meter runner. And I thought, yes, all right, I'll do that, Ian, with you. And he went, I said, so what is it? He said, it's 10 200s. And straight away, my face went, 10 200s. And I was thinking, oh, it's bound to be a bit of recovery. And I was like, how long? And he said, well, you do a 200, you jog a 200, then you run. And I was like, so I think he was looking around 28 seconds for his 200s. 10 of and probably only got about a minute rest. I got to about 5 and I was like, that's me done. I thought I'm gonna have to stop here. So credit to your middle distance at it.
Sometimes you do
200 meters with 2 minutes rest, just doing 1 set enough. Never mind 10 or 20 of them. So it really is tough. So not for me, all that long work. So as you say with that, so has your diet changed much then since now?
Well, I've always, since I got my liver autoimmune condition, I've been very conscious of what I eat, of what I put into my body. I think when you're training hard, your body actually asks you to fuel it well. I don't know, but I don't crave McDonald's, and I would never eat anything like that. I'd never eat pizza. I just, maybe that sounds too, righteous, but yeah,
your kids will love you for that.
Yeah, I mean, they can eat it occasionally, but no, I mean, in my house it's like 90% organic. It's all home cooked, from scratch. We don't buy anything processed, or the kids might have a packet of crisps, but yeah, I'm quite on it with the food, but that's what I like. I like healthy food, and I'll still eat chocolate. But
I don't know a woman that doesn't eat chocolate. Especially dark chocolate or something like that, because it's supposed to be good for you anyway, but dark chocolate. It is. So do you take any supplements at all?
Yeah, I take vitamin C and zinc because I've got a suppressed immune system because of the medication that I take. and I take probiotics because with autoimmune conditions it comes through your gut, so it usually makes people with autoimmune conditions have more gut issues. So I've started taking Simprove. It's which is quite a new supplement. I've also started taking collagen, and if I'm in the lead up to a championships and I'm training really hard, I will take, you know, a multivitamin. At the moment, actually, I'm taking vitamin D and iron because I have had issues with low iron and low vitamin D in the past. And I'll take a multivitamin and fish oils.
You're definitely very health conscious. Vitamin D, I'm not surprised, as we don't get any flipping sun, do we? So
well,
I think we all get deficient in vitamin D.
Yeah,
now.
we should all take it in the winter, but
yeah, definitely, I think so. So you take any protein powders or anything like that, or is that something you don't bother?
I used to, but no, I tried to get protein through food.
Yeah, so it's more natural product, which I'm more for. I don't actually take any protein powders. I always try to keep it as natural, but my diet is definitely not as good as yours. You seem too good to be true. I'm definitely not like that. Yeah, so I don't drink. So do you drink? Do you have alcohol or anything like that?
So I used to love a drink. Now it's on special occasions. I'll have like a really nice drink, a cocktail, a glass of champagne. I'll never have more than 2 drinks. I shouldn't really drink at all with my liver condition.
Right.
But, occasionally I'll have 1 glass.
Oh, you are so good, you. You're absolutely two shoes. Anyone who watching this house, she's too good. It can't be that good. But that's what it takes to become, you want to become a top athlete. You try and get everything as best you can, whether that's your food, your training, and obviously you're altering it all. You got your results by becoming world champion. And the other thing is as well, world champion, 2 different distances. I mean, what was it? Was it 1,500 and a 3K?
Yeah, so my winter sort of training, I don't really do much speed work, or I didn't with my old coach. My new coach I'm having more speed work in the winter, but so I always come off the back of a lot of endurance, and I'm made to do a 3K, which I just find hideous. 15 laps of the indoor track.
Oh yeah, feel for that.
So, but yeah, when I won that, I kind of felt like a bit of a fraud. Like I was, obviously very happy to get the title, but because it wasn't the distance that I like to run, and I had sat behind somebody and then outkicked them at the end, which is the way that I like to try and win. So I then felt really guilty for feeling so I just was really wanted to win the 15 after that, because it was like, this is my race, this is what I like doing,
it's your event, so to speak. Tuning for one event.
Yeah, and I said I can't be world champion at 3K and not at 1,500, and that is my event. So I was over the moon to win both.
Oczywiście bardziej niż w przypadku skoków.
3,000 meters run, hit 1, 50 athletes. Bieg na 3000 metrów, kategoria W40, panie z kategorii W40, 15 zawodniczek na starcie, no i mamy 2 Polki. Jest Danuta Woszczek, o której wspominaliśmy, ale też Ewa Brych-Pająk, przecież...
Tak, chyba to jest Zoe Doyle. Ta, która poniżej 10 minut biega na tym dystansie w hali. No i teraz, która będzie lepszą sprinterką, która będzie miała to odejście na tych ostatnich 150 metrach, może 100.
No tak, bo powiedzieliśmy o
gry. Teoretycznie ma już medal, ale teraz jaki? Hiszpanka mocno i teraz pewno Doyle przyciśnie, tak.
Doyle
zdecyduje się na taki dłuższy, 200-metrowy finisz. Za nią, zobacz, Irlandka poszła. Hiszpanka jednak zapłaciła za to prowadzenie. Szarpnęła mocno, to kosztuje, chociaż jeszcze sprawa nie jest zamknięta. Na razie Doyle przed Irlandką, Hiszpanka na 3. miejscu. Będzie ładny bieg, jeszcze tutaj wyprzedza, to jest utrudnienie oczywiście te zawodniczki, które trzeba wyprzedzać, ale Doyle, tak, ma tutaj dużą przewagę. Zdecydowanie najszybsza, najlepszym wynikiem przyjechała tutaj i wygrywa. Zostaje mistrzynią świata przed Hiszpanką Mary Leach i
Gold medal.
Toro Sanz Marto z Hiszpanii.
Champion Zoe Doyle from Great Britain.
No troszkę było tutaj już emocyjek.
No było.
So you know when you go to, you were saying you do touch on weights, didn't you say?
Yeah, no, I do a lot of weight training.
So do you go to a gym? Do you have a coach or a personal trainer out there? And how do you devise your program?
Well, I've worked with a couple of different physios. We're lucky at our club that we've got the GB physio, Andy Walling. So he sort of helped me, and then I know my own weaknesses, so I devised the program. And then my new coach, Lewis, he sort of tweaked it a bit, but not, I've done my research basically, and done most of it myself. So I do 2 weight sessions at the moment, or I do 1 weight session and a hill session each week. And I'll do a heavy weight on a Wednesday, and I do supersets with plyometrics. And when I say heavyweight, it's heavy for me, but it's not. I'm still able to do, 12 to 20 reps. I don't go really heavy, which may be something I need to look at in the future.
I was going to say, because at 12 to 20, 20 is more conditioning to me. You're 12 getting on the toning phase of stuff, but I suppose it's whatever works for you, to be honest.
Yeah, well, as a middle distance athlete, I think it's more about more reps than just being really, really strong, because I naturally build muscle quite easily. So, and then my second one is more like a circuit, but it's with weight, which I find works for me rather than just doing a body weight. Yeah.
So do you do much mobility and stretching at all?
Yeah, I do an awful lot. I do mobility before I go out for any run, and stretch nearly every evening. I do Pilates a couple of times a week. So yeah, it's always something that I've done, I think, because I've always had so many injuries that it's sort of a good way of checking in with your body. I've got really good flexibility, which I think is important, for running fast. And you can, it's just another thing to work on. You can keep on improving at all the different areas like nutrition and flexibility, mobility, like the weights. I really try to sort of focus on being better at everything that I can do.
Już mamy kolejny bieg, na który czekaliśmy, kategoria W40. Sytuacja dość wygodna, komfortowa, 11 zawodniczych tylko. Tu mieliśmy biegi, jak Państwo widzieli, już po 16 biegaczy, nawet 17 w jednym biegu na 1500. Tymczasem francuska Kalif. To jest Louise Root, ta pierwsza, ale francuska znów dała zmianę. Doyle jest nieco wyższa. To zdarza na tym poziomie, ale zdarza się. Root, a za nią idzie Doyle, a więc Brytyjki. Będzie ostatnie okrążenie za chwilę. Dzwoneczek usłyszymy. 2 Brytyjki. Francuska nadspodziewanie dobrze trzyma się. Irlandka Lynch tak samo. Ale teraz próbowała tam przeskoczyć. Troszkę zaburzyła rytm. Jest zamknięta Irlandka. Root słabnie. Więc to szarpanie, prowadzenie z francuską troszkę ją zmęczyło. Teraz jest na 3. pozycji reprezentantka Irlandii, a to jest ta najszybsza, Zoe Doyle. Zoe Doyle ucieka, goni ją Irlandka, przeskoczyła francuskę po wewnętrznej, puściła francuska reprezentantkę Irlandii, a więc Zoe Doyle, Brytyjka i Mary Leach i francuska Judy Kalif 3 pierwsze miejsca w tym biegu. Bez niespodzianek w tym sensie, że te najmocniejsze od razu się tutaj wykazały aktywnością i w efekcie to one wejdą na podium, z wyjątkiem francuski, która niezły wynik miała, ale nie tak dobry jak obie Brytyjki, jak Mary Leach, Irlandka, bo ponad 5 minut, 5:1:56. No i tutaj bardzo.
So what's your training group like? Have you got a big training group or is it a small training group?
Well, this year I haven't been back to training, which is quite sad. But just with COVID, it's been stop-start, and because I've got my own coach, it doesn't always work with the sessions that the club do. So I did have a training group, and it was really good at Wickham, and but in this year, I've just been training with a couple of training partners, which actually, because I was coming back from injury, it's meant there's sort of no pressure. That I sometimes have the tendency to maybe try too hard in sessions, because I'm running with people who are generally a lot younger than me, and mainly men, and sometimes I think I sort of beast myself too much. And actually, it's like Kipchoge says that he's always looking at the next session, not to sort of overreach in this session. And I think this year's been quite good for me because I've been able to do that just with my couple of training partners, and not overstretch myself, and just get my body back from injury and feeling really strong.
Yeah, we've had just an awful year coming up, struggling anyone to race. Training's been sort of been more of a disaster the whole year, really. We've sort of done little bits here and there, or do what you can, with the gyms closing and open, shut down, lockdown, can't go to the track. So it's been a real test for us this year. I found it hard motivationally to keep myself going. Has that been the case for yourself?
Well, no, because the thing is with my running, which is maybe what keeps me interested and motivated, is it's so up and down that I've had, I'm always coming back from an injury. So this year, actually coming back from an injury, having a new coach, and then almost not knowing about whether we would get any races, it's sort of that kept me motivated. And in the end, I think I had about 10 track races. And I took every opportunity that I got, even the first one, which was, the test, the trial kind of race for the BMC, where there was 3 of us running an 800 in lanes, and it was hideous. It was just like a time trial, but I was just so happy to actually be on that track and racing and, taking that opportunity, because I knew, nothing's been guaranteed this year. You just have to do it, don't you? And enjoy the opportunity. Yeah,
that's what we've just had to do. I mean, I had a couple of races out this year myself, but not a lot. But obviously, no majors, no Europeans, no worlds, nothing like that. So moving forward from now, what are you looking forward to? Have you got any more aspirations you want to achieve?
I want to get PBs before I get too old and start getting slower, because I'm still getting faster. I got a 5k PB in October, and that was the first one that I did, so I want to improve on that. And then I really want to improve on my 8 and my 15 this summer. I'm not, because we're not going to have any championships probably next year, and it is hard just to run for times, but I'm aiming for the summer track, because I don't think anything's really guaranteed before that. People talk about indoors and things, but I'm thinking that my goals are on the track in the summer, really. And then long term, I'd really like to be world champion outdoors. And again, not really a time limit on that, because there's some very good girls in my age group, very good Irish girls, particularly. And there's always that luck, when you get older, who's injured, who's running well, who's at that championship. When you've got kids, whether sometimes the championships that are further away, people don't travel to, or whatever's going on. So but that's one thing that I would like to do. And then maybe at some point, you know, I know you've got a lot of records which are very impressive. You know, it would be great at some point to get some sort of record. But again, I think we'll just have to wait and see. And there's some
yeah, it's just one of them, just got to train. But you are quite new, and as you just said though, you could actually potentially get faster. I know women don't like to know their age, but I am 41, 42.
I'm 42.
There you go. Well, I think you've still got a few more years yet to get a PB. Definitely. I've seen athletes get PBs at 44, and I've seen people get a PB at the age of 49. So,
wow.
And that's realistic, because I think, if memory serves me correct, the sprinter Jason Carty ran a personal best at the age of 49, electronic in Malaga. Wow. So for me, it can be done. And when people think, oh, I can't do it because at your top end of your age or whatever, I know it's difficult going to championships at the top end of your age, but I think if you definitely believe, and especially the way you are, and you're coming up through the years and you're learning about your training, I think there's no reason why you can't become faster. And maybe even a set records. I think you just got to have desire and belief. I'm sure you'll get there.
Thank you.
So, and hopefully, have you done a Masters Grand Prix yet?
No, I have been. I know. I have been meaning to, and I was going to come in. Yeah, not this September, last September, and then I got a cold, so I was actually going to come, but yeah. So that has to be on my list of.
I'm sure it doesn't have to be, Zoe.
Yeah, that's definitely on my goal list now.
Yeah, it'll have to be on your goal list, because that's where you're going to run a PB.
Yeah. Well, it's meant to be a fast track, isn't it?
Well, it depends when I'm hosting it. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I'm hopefully it's going to be a July 2021, but I don't want to say too much yet, just in case it doesn't happen. But I'm hoping for a July meeting, and we don't know if Finland's going to go ahead yet as well, which I think is July as well. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. So, if there's anything more you'd like to add, Zoe?
I don't think so. Just to say thank you so much for having me on, and thank you for all you do in promoting Masters Athletics and giving it that platform to inspire us all to achieve more, really.
Yes, no, it's brilliant, and I just hope you inspire other people, and it just shows that not at the age of 35 that's it. Mother of three. You've got other things in your life you achieve. You've got a business. Were you a fashion designer or something like that beforehand?
Yeah, I was a lingerie designer. That was that was one thing that that's what I was passionate about. At school and things. I didn't want to become an athlete. I wanted to become a designer, and so yeah, it's like a previous life now.
So it just shows your life begins at 35 then.
Yeah.
Or life begins at 40, whichever way you want to. But it just shows you are definitely an inspiration, Zoe. And it's been brilliant to interview your good self. And hopefully I will see you on the track in the near future.
Yes.